People say moving to another country changes your life. They were right. I just didn't know mine would change because of two strangers. The day I left home, my mom hugged me so tightly that I could barely breathe. She smiled, but I could tell she was trying not to cry. "Call me every day," she whispered. "I promise," I replied. I believed it would be easy. A new country, a new university, new friends, a fresh start. I had no idea that one decision would change everything. The flight felt endless. I spent most of it looking out the window, wondering what my new life would look like. Would I fit in? Would I make friends? Would I regret leaving home? By the time I landed, it was already evening. The city looked beautiful. Old buildings, bright streetlights, and people speaking a language I barely understood. Everything felt exciting and terrifying. The university had arranged an apartment for international students. It wasn't big, just a small living room, a bedroom, and a balcony overlooking another apartment building. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. I couldn't sleep. It was my first day. I spent almost 20 minutes choosing what to wear, then changed my outfit twice. I laughed at myself. "You look nervous," I whispered to my reflection. "I am." The university campus was bigger than I imagined. Students were everywhere. Some were laughing, some were rushing to class, others were sitting on the grass with coffee in their hands. For the first time, I felt completely alone. I checked my phone. No messages, no familiar faces, just a map showing where my classroom was. As I hurried across the campus, someone suddenly stepped in front of me. I bumped into him so hard that my notebook slipped from my hands. "Oh, I'm so sorry." We both bent down to pick it up. Our hands reached for the same notebook. He smiled. "It's your first day, isn't it?" I looked surprised. "How did you know?" He handed me the notebook. "Because you look exactly how I looked last year." I couldn't help smiling. "My name's Noah." "I'm Emma." He pointed toward one of the university buildings. "Business department?" I nodded. "I'm heading there too." We walked together. The conversation felt easy, like we'd known each other longer than 5 minutes. "So," he asked, "what made you leave your country?" I thought for a second. "I wanted a different future." He smiled. "I think you came to the right place." By the time we reached the classroom, my nervousness had almost disappeared. Before walking away, he turned around. "Oh," I looked up. "If you ever get lost?" He smiled. "You probably will." I laughed. "Thanks for believing in me." "I don't," he grinned. "I've just seen enough first-year students." For the rest of the day, I kept thinking about that conversation. Maybe because he was the first person who made this place feel less lonely. Classes ended around 4. As I walked back toward my apartment, my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. "Did you make any friends?" I smiled and typed back. "Maybe. One." That evening, I stood on my balcony with a cup of tea. The weather was colder than I expected. The streets below were quiet. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. Then I noticed someone. A man standing on the balcony of the building across from mine. He wasn't using his phone. He wasn't drinking coffee. He wasn't reading. He was simply looking in my direction. I frowned. Maybe he was just enjoying the view. I looked away. When I looked back a few seconds later, he was gone. I shrugged. Maybe I was overthinking. I went inside, closed the balcony door, and completely forgot about him. At least, I thought I did. That night, I called my mom before going to bed. She asked me 100 questions. "How was your first class? Did you eat? Are your roommates nice?" I smiled through the entire call. "I'll be fine, Mom." "You always say that." "Because it's true." After we hung up, the apartment suddenly felt quiet again. Too quiet. I unpacked the last few boxes, took a quick shower, and finally went to sleep. The next morning, I almost missed my first lecture. I grabbed my bag, locked the apartment, and ran toward the elevator. Just before the doors closed, a hand stopped them. I looked up. A tall man stepped inside. He was dressed in a black coat. No headphones, no phone, just complete silence. He nodded politely. "Morning." "Morning." That was all. The elevator continued down. For some reason, the silence felt heavier than any conversation. When the doors opened, he stepped aside instead of walking first. "You can go." "Oh, thank you." His voice was calm, almost emotionless. I hurried outside without saying another word. By lunchtime, I had already gotten lost twice. Luckily, Noah found me both times. "I think you're breaking a university record." "For what?" "The fastest student to get lost." I laughed. "I swear these buildings move when I'm not looking." "They do." I looked at him. "They like confusing first-year students." "You almost had me believing that." "I know." For the first time since arriving, I forgot how nervous I was. We spent the afternoon walking around campus. He showed me the library, the student cafe, and even the quiet rooftop where students came to study before exams. "The view is beautiful. It gets even better at sunset. You come here often?" He smiled. "When I need to think." "And today?" I was hoping I'd run into someone. I felt my cheeks grow warm. Before I could answer, his phone rang. He looked at the screen and the smile on his face disappeared. "I have to go." "So suddenly?" "I'm sorry. I'll see you tomorrow." He walked away faster than before. I stood there, wondering what had changed in just a few seconds. That evening, the weather suddenly turned cold. Dark clouds covered the sky. By the time I reached my apartment building, it started raining hard. I searched my bag for my keys. Nothing. I checked every pocket. Nothing. "No," I whispered. "I left them in my apartment." I looked up. The building manager's office was already closed. Perfect. I was locked outside. As I stood there trying to think, a familiar voice spoke behind me. "You look like someone having a very bad day." I turned around. It was the man from the elevator. He held an umbrella over both of us. I locked myself out. I guessed. He looked toward the rain. "It'll be a while before the manager comes back." I sighed. "So I just wait?" "For now." We stood there quietly, listening to the rain. After a few moments, he took a small key card from his wallet. "The manager keeps a spare access card with every building resident." He handed it to me. "You can use mine." I blinked. "You don't even know me." He looked at me for a second. "I know enough." "What does that mean?" "It means you don't look like someone who would steal my apartment." I laughed. "I guess that's a compliment." "It is." For the first time, a very small smile appeared on his face. "My name is Adrian." "I'm Emma." "I know." The words left his mouth so naturally that I didn't even realize what he'd said until a few seconds later. I stopped walking. "You know my name?" He looked at me. "The international student list was posted in the building lobby yesterday." I let out a quiet breath. Of course. That made sense, didn't it? He opened the main entrance for me. "After you." "Thank you." "You're welcome." As I reached my apartment door, I turned around. Adrian was already walking away. No goodbye, no small talk, just silence. Later that night, I remembered Noah's words. "It gets even better at sunset." I smiled without realizing it. Maybe moving here wasn't such a bad idea after all. Then my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. There was no greeting, no introduction, just one sentence. "You shouldn't trust people so easily, Emma." I stared at the screen. My heart stopped. I had never given my number to anyone, except Noah. I looked around my apartment, trying to convince myself it was just a prank. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. I had no idea that this single message was about to change everything. If you want to know who sent that message and what happened next, don't miss episode 2 of Shadows Between Us.